Hi everybody, back again. It's pretty dry now, and I would encourage you to give it. I'm being impatient because I want to get this painted for you, but I would encourage you to let this layer dry. Although right now I'm going to try to increase the value contrast. Right now everything's pretty much kind of a middle value. I've got a light here and a dark here. These are kind of consistent, and I want to broaden the value range, so make them feel rounder and more illuminated. So I'm going to throw some more white on top. Let me squirt some white out. And I'm gonna right after this little project, I'm gonna go order some more white. And using this brush right here, try to squeegee it out as best you can so it's not super wet. I'm just gonna start painting in the whites a bit more. I don't have any music playing, dang it. Now another little technical thing is called dry brushing or scumbling, and I'm doing it right now. We'll probably have an exercise later that focuses on this, but you can see how I'm just letting the kind of paint without medium, so there's not a lot of water in the paint, kind of drag across the canvas. Okay, creating a blend with the canvas. See how that creates a texture, or brings up the texture of the canvas paper there. It's called dry brushing, but we'll talk about that later. So I want to get this kind of a clean white. Let's work on these now. So like here, I'm pushing the brush down pretty hard to squish paint out on there. And see how I'm restoring the contours? So I wasn't worrying, that whole idea of coloring within the lines is crap. So try to dispel all that stuff you learned when you were a kid. That's all negative stuff. You know, not going outside the lines kind of stuff. The other stuff is good. I'm gonna throw a little black in there now. And put some black over here. Some down here too. Oops, more down here. I want to extend that range a bit more. So we go from, light to dark nicely. You notice in this phase of the game, I'm not using a lot of water. I'm just putting the paint in straight because I don't want to mush it around a lot. I just want the paint to kind of drag across the canvas and mix into what's already there that's wet, that first layer of white I just put in. So I'm not being real aggressive with the medium. I'm still not that concerned with the edges. See, I'm not like trying to stay in the lines there, because like if you read the instructions, you'll be painting around these more. Okay, so I'm gonna, let me just, sometimes it helps to cross the contour of the shape with your, nope, never mind, that's ugly. Keep working it here. Rinse that brush off for a second. You see how the forms are starting to develop. Squeegee the brush out. More white. And on top of that. Okay, next step is to manipulate the background, the spaces around the forms, to emphasize the forms that are in front. So the space right here in this negative area could be painted as a darker tone, emphasizing this white by contrast. This could be lighter. So I'm going to do this. I have white paint on the brush anyway, so I'm going to go down here. And at this stage, you can start to refine the contours of the forms a bit more. Clean them up a bit, maybe, or not. Kind of depends on your predilection. This video is getting a little long, so I'm going to have to cut it soon. But I just want to, so I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I'm just going to get this light in here. And then you can see how we can now put in a dark tone here, blending it up. Put a lighter tone up there. So while you're doing this, you're learning how to paint. You're learning how to manipulate value and colors, but also the physical process of painting. You're learning how to mix paint. You're learning, like, for me, it's like at this point pretty intuitive. You know, like I was telling you about using, like I'm not using much water right now, and I didn't even think about that. That's just something that I knew kind of how I wanted the paint to behave, so I knew I didn't want to have it all wet. So, you know, you're busy learning that right now by doing this. Does that make sense? It does to me. See, I love how that's just sort of floating there now, right? More black down here. And as you manipulate the space here, because that's what we're doing, we're creating the illusion of space, right? These forms are floating in space. They aren't anything. They're like, this is like a hot dog or something, some big fat hot dog, or this is a peanut. There's no object reference here. They're just shapes. And that's important for now because I don't want you to just struggle. You know, we will be painting realistically at some point, but for now, I want you to just think about form and the basic, concepts behind the creation of form, lights and darks. And then you're just simply learning how to use the paint. Okay, that's just, as I just said a few minutes ago, how to brush, how to make paint interesting. Okay, I'm gonna turn it off now, it's too long, but I'll be working on this for another few minutes.